Are you dealing with fatigue, gas, bloating, or stubborn digestive symptoms and wondering if parasites are the hidden culprit? Maybe you've seen claims online that a parasite cleanse will fix everything, or that even parasites cause cancer. So, do you actually need a parasite cleanse? Stay tuned because the answer is more interesting than a simple yes or no. I'm Dr. Vickie, and this is Healthy Looks Great on You, a lifestyle medicine podcast to help you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your well-being. Life tested, doctor approved. I'll be honest, this is a topic I approached very carefully. Not because it isn't important, but because once something gains traction online, facts sometimes struggle to keep up with enthusiasm. My goal today isn't to mock, shame, or dismiss anyone. It's to separate what's biologically real, what's medically tested, and what's being marketed. And if you're curious and you want the truth, even if it's a little less exciting than the internet promised, then you are in the right place. Let's go to mini medical school and learn what is a parasite. And let's start with the basics. A parasite is an organism that depends on another organism, a host, for survival. It takes nutrients from the host and gives them nothing in return. They're basically that house guest who shows up uninvited, eats all your food, and refuses to leave. Clark Griswold energy. Parasites can enter the body through contaminated food or water, contact with infected people or animals, undercooked meat, and they can cause symptoms like diarrhea, abdominal pain, gas and bloating, nausea, vomiting, itching, often around the anus. And some parasites are microscopic and others can grow alarmingly large. And yes, that sentence is intentionally unsettling. Most are spread when eggs are on the fingers and they make their way into the mouth. And I'll just pause right here while everyone reassesses their hand washing habits. Common parasites in the United States, according to the USDA and the CDC, include Giardia duodenalis, Cryptosporidium parvum, Cyclosporo cayetanensis, Toxoplasma gondii, Trichinella spiralis, Tania saginata, otherwise known as the beef tapeworm, Titania solium, which is the pork tapeworm, and because I'm a gynecologist, I am obligated to mention Trichomonas, which is a parasite and it's a sexually transmitted disease. In real life, parasites like pinworms spread easily in daycares when hygiene breaks down, especially during diaper changes. Glamorous? No. Real? Absolutely. You can also get exposed when you travel and eat foods. You know, those places where you're warned not to drink the water, but then you eat fruits or vegetables like lettuce that are washed in that water, and then you meet Giardia. Outdoor enthusiasts can also get Giardia from untreated lakes or rivers if they're taking a sip, and yes, that looks rugged, but nothing humbles you faster than explosive diarrhea out in the wilderness. Undercooked meat can transmit parasites too, which is why proper food handling matters. But here's a pop quiz. Do parasites cause cancer? True or false? Well, the answer is true, but with a big asterisk. Certain parasites, specifically liver flukes and blood flukes, are associated with cancers, like cholangiocarcinoma and bladder cancer. But these parasites are not found in the United States. So, unless you're traveling to parts of Southeast Asia or Africa and eating raw or undercooked freshwater fish, this is not something the average United States resident needs to worry about. Now, here's where things get muddy. People are told that parasites cause gas, bloating, constipation, muscle aches, insomnia, constant hunger, and can these symptoms improve if someone has a parasite and gets treated? Yes. But here's the key point. Clinically significant parasitic infections in adults without risk factors are uncommon in the United States. When people do have true infections, they usually have persistent diarrhea and bloody stools and fever and vomiting and weight loss. significant fatigue. And so if you suspect a parasite, the correct next step is medical testing, not a cleanse. And let's talk more about pinworms and the tape test that nobody asked for. It's the most common parasite in the United States, affecting 40 million Americans. It's mostly babies and kids, and it can cause intense anal and sometimes vaginal itching, especially at night, because that's when and where the eggs are laid. And you can diagnose this by taking a piece of clear tape, sticking it to the anus a few hours after bedtime, and then looking for the eggs under the microscope. The medicine to treat it is simple and effective, and no cleanse is required. So, what is a parasite cleanse? This is an alternative approach that claims to eliminate parasites using herbal supplements, or special diets, or enemas, and extended protocols. And let's head over to the wellness aisle on the internet and see what's available and whether or not there is any evidence that it works. Here on aisle 1, you can pick up some wormwood, black walnut, cloves, and oregano oil. Moving to aisle 2, there are herbal supplements that contain anise, clove, grapeseed, and golden seal. Aisle 3 is a little more organic with apple cider vinegar, garlic, ginger, and turmeric. And the legitimate recommendation that you should add more fiber to your diet. I 100% agree with that. And some of those other ingredients do have some anti-parasitic properties. But if you've got a parasite, you first need a diagnosis and then a proper treatment. And if you're just treating common GI symptoms or trying to lose weight, then you should know there are no studies that show that parasitic cleanses work. More importantly, unexplained symptoms deserve evaluation, not a supplement stack that may delay proper care. And what about ivermectin? We need to talk about it. It's an anti-parasitic medication that paralyzes worms, and it has legitimate uses for diagnosed infections. And during the pandemic, desperation led many people to try many things, including doctors, but that doesn't make them evidence-based. And you may hear claims that ivermectin treats a variety of things like cancer, COVID, and possibly your electric bill. But think about this. If ivermectin proves effective in humans, it has to go through trials, approvals, and be marketed like everything else. Ivermectin has never made it out of phase 1, phase 2 human clinical trials. They're still doing them, and if it works, Big Pharma will snatch it up and profit from it. You know, they'll do commercials on TV and they'll say, if you have XYZ, ask your doctor about expensive mectin. But the studies that are often cited are either in a petri dish or in animals, and none of them are in humans showing a benefit for cancer patients. And if you find one that does, please send it to me and I'll happily review it. So, parasites, yes, they're real, and parasitic infections should be diagnosed and treated medically, but parasitic cleanses are not evidence-based. Vague symptoms deserve real evaluation, and ivermectin is not a proven cancer treatment in humans. Your health deserves more than hype, and that's the truth. If you found it refreshing to hear someone take a critical look at some of the wellness claims, then I would invite you to follow me on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, or wherever you get your podcast, and leave a review. It helps get the word out. Better yet, subscribe to my newsletter, and you'll get each podcast episode delivered right to your inbox. I'd love to stay connected. Be healthy, stay healthy, because healthy looks great on you.
The information contained in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not considered to be a substitute for medical advice. You should continue to follow up with your physician or healthcare provider and take medication as prescribed. Though the information in this podcast is evidence-based, new research may develop and recommendations may change.